Hello and welcome. Uh, Today I'd like to talk to you some more about switching from Linux to macOS Monterey. And once again, the reason I'm doing this is because I really wanted to try out this new Mac Mini. I wanted to get a small computer that was not power hungry. I can always run my desktop server remotely and do training of models on it and that sort of thing. Uh, but for my daily machine that I use all the time, I wanted something that was low power. Uh, and when I started looking at mini computers, the Mac Mini kept popping up as the best choice. And so this doesn't run Linux, although I can run Linux in a virtual machine on it. So I can have all the Linux functionality I want. But I also get Mac OS, and there's some things that I'm finding that I really like about it. But it's been taking me a little while to get my system so that it's in a state that I consider fairly usable. And let me talk to you about that. Now, I'm going to switch over to the desktop and let's see. The first thing I want to talk about is some software called Alfred. And Alfred allows me to hit the super key twice, and it brings up the Alfred, I don't know what they call this, control bar or whatever it's called. It allows me to enter in a program name. So, for example, I can type in C, and because I open Chrome a lot, that's what pops up first. Uh, I could type in S here and system preferences pops up because I open that quite a lot. Once I get this all set up, I'll be doing that less often. So I may have to type in SY to get system preferences. And then, of course, if I hit enter, it'll open it for me and I can do what I need to do. Control left arrow is going to bring me back to the this workspace. And I'm getting that my keystrokes bit by bit. I'm running something called Spectacle here, which is giving me all of these kinds of commands here to move a window to the upper left, upper right, and probably most importantly, when I open a second program in this window, it will automatically go to split screen like this. So this little green button, if you hover over it, let me get rid of that. We'll give this little menu and allow you to do window management. And I hate that. But this spectacle has given me back this automatic tiling, which I like. And let's see, I think that I have this spectacle open here. Now, this is a free program, but it's no longer being actively maintained. But it's working very well in Monterey. So I think the most popular one of these window management tools is Magnet, but you have to pay for that, and this one is free. So that's what I'm using for now, and I'm happy with it. Uh, what else here? So besides Alfred, Alfred does some really great things. For example, if I want to shut down, I type SH and I can hit enter and it'll shut the system down. Or if I want to reboot it, restart it, RE will get that for me. Uh, it will, if I hit the this guy here, that what is it, the single quote, it will do a file search for me, so I can look up logs, for example. What is this system log, or I can't think of a file to look up right now. What do I have in here? I probably have something called foo. I usually do. There we go, foo.csv. It will also look up bookmarks for me. So if I want Amazon or something like that, it'll look that stuff up. Uh, all kinds of things. So I'm very happy with Alfred. Alfred has given me back a lot of the control that I had with Linux. Uh, Other things here that are important. I have some shortcuts here that I put in for toggling voice control and voiceover. Uh, that's very helpful. The voice over is very good here. So if you're in an article like this one, for example, if I turn on voiceover, you'll see what happens.
Creating and combining views. Selected. To lay out the views, Landmarks uses stacks to combine and layer the image and text view components. To add a map to the view, you'll include a standard map kit. Download the project files to begin. 40 minutes estimated time empty group. Download the
So
to
you
lay out
see,
the
I
view.
can move
This
around
tutorial
here
guides you through
quite
building
easily.
landmarks.
I'm holding down the cap locks and hitting the right arrow,
To lay out the
and
download the
it's moving
project.
me around.
This tutorial guides you through building landmarks. An app for
So
discovering and sharing the places you love. Application. Control Center System Dialog.
I'll just turn that
Voiceover off.
off. Uh, so I find this very helpful when I am reading something. I find that if I hear it as well as read it, I I'm more likely to remember it. And so this voiceover is really pretty good. And voice control also works quite well. Open system preferences. Open system preferences. So that works fairly well too. I'm just going to turn that back off. Uh, Surprisingly well. And that's something that I like. Also, I'm doing a super key tab to switch back. I want to switch back over here to Google Chrome. So besides Alfred, I've also installed CopyClip so that I can have clipboard history. I really can't function without clipboard history. I'm so used to having it. Uh, Also, something called Hidden Bar. Hidden Bar allows me to hide some things that are in up here in the menu bar, things that I don't need to get to. So the way that works is I just move them. Well, let me go to another window for this so we can see it more clearly. So there's a spacer here. You can't really see it, but there's a little spacer. Anything that's on this side of the spacer will remain when this is closed up, and everything that's on this side disappears. So if I didn't want to see something, like let's see, I didn't want this accessibility guy over here, I hold the command key down. I can hold the command key down and then just drag it, and it will move it to another position. And if I move it to the other side of this spacer, it will disappear when that closes up. So this is important because it means that I can get to the things that I need to get to and not worry about the other stuff here. Now, what happened to my drop zone? I don't see drop zone up here. Is that not running? It's probably not running. Let me start that up. All right, now where is it? All right, here it is. Here's drop zone now. And let me see if there's some preferences for this. I probably didn't start it. No, it says start at login. Okay. Drop zone is another really good one here because this will allow me to install an application. I can just drag it here and it will install it. It will delete the zip file, clean things up. Uh, if I want to email a file, I can drop it here. If I want the path to be copied into my clipboard for an item, I can just drop it on here. And there's a lot of other things that Drop Zone can do. So I installed that, and that's very helpful. Uh, let's see. I also put on something called MathPick here. I can drop a, a photo of equations on here, and it will convert them to text and also solve them. So that's pretty helpful. Uh, of course, I set up time shift and what else here? I put the accessibility guy up here because there's some things in here that are helpful, like reduced transparency. Uh, I don't need transparency. There are keyboard shortcuts that can be set up so that you can put in snippets of text. You type the shortcut and then the full text expands. That's very helpful. Let's see. I don't like the terminal that comes with this, so I set up iTerm. I downloaded and set up iTerm. I like this. For one thing, when I exit it, it closes the window, which is something that I was not getting with the Mac's terminal. All right, so I don't like this. It didn't open the new window up for me when I started it, and it stuck it over here. I guess I have it set up to start in this particular workspace. One of the complaints about Mission Control, which is what this is, these desktops, is that you can't rename them to something. Uh, Also, they don't start up automatically. If you switch in Linux, if you use up the desktops that you have open and you ask for to switch to another one, so you hit the control right arrow to get to the next desktop to the right. If there isn't one there already, it will create it. Uh, so I'd imagine that there's probably a way to do that, some sort of an extension, but I haven't found it yet. It's not a big deal. It's not something I'm going to really spend time looking for. What else here? So within the terminal itself, I had to set up some things. I had to set up Oh My ZSH. So if you don't know, the Mac comes with ZSH as the default shell, which is a good thing. But I put in Oh My ZSH so that I can put in my plugins. And if I run ZSH config here, we can go down to my plugins, and I run Git, the Git code plugin, ZSH auto suggestions, sudo, which if you type a command in here and you forget to put sudo in front, you can hit escape twice and it will insert sudo at the beginning. Syntax highlighting, some basic aliases. Z is a really good one because if you hit Z and type in a part of a directory you had been in before, it will find it for you and you hit enter and it'll go to it. FCF is a fuzzy search, which I use with what is this thing called? What is this? Common. Well, first of all, this commonality. Let me get out of here. If I hit Control R, this will bring up history. And now, if I do a fuzzy search here, I started typing in FI. It found everything that had an FI in it and put it up here. So if I was looking for this find, I could have found it quickly. Or if I wanted this find up here, and then if I hit enter, it'll copy it into the command line, and I can run it easily. So that's the fuzzy search plugin. And along with this, I also put in a power level 10K so that it gives me this kind of prompt, this multi-line prompt with the, this is showing me, for example, that I'm in the base virtual environment in Conda. So if I do a Conda deactivate, for example, see, now I'm no longer in the base environment. Now I'm back. If you don't know what Conda is, you should find out. And for the Mac M1, it's MiniForge is the best way to install Conda. And then besides this, I had to put in the nerd fonts so that I could get these icons to look right. And iTerm installs those. So it asks you if you want to install nerd fonts, and just say yes for that. What else have I done here? So for mission control, I do keep this note thing down here. So if I want to do a quick note, I just have to come down here to this corner and it will bring that up. And that's helpful. I installed Tinker Tool. So let's start that up. Tinker Tool allows you to set some things that normally you'd have to set from the command line. And so I did things like turn off the animation for the dock, and I also turn off the magnification because the magnification kind of gets in the way. Uh, but there are a number of things here that can be set that can't be set without Tinker Tool, and so you should probably go out and grab this. And I'm just going to quit out of here. You can look that up and look through it and see what you like and don't like about it. I also installed UTM for virtual machines. That's a QEMU variant, I guess, for the Mac M1. I talked about DriveDX in my last video on switching from Linux, why you should test your new machine. Omnidisk Sweeper is something I installed so that I can clean my files. Let's see, Omnidisk Sweeper. All right, so I could update it. I'm not going to update it now. But this gives me the ability to sweep a drive, and it will get rid of caches, and uh, basically it'll look for files that you really don't need to have on your system anymore and get rid of them. And so that's a good thing to have, keep your disks clean. Uh, I installed LandScan on here, LandScan, which I'm not going to run, but it will show you your network, all the devices connected to it. Black Magic disk speed test. Uh, and one of the problems with the Mac is that it has very few ports on it. And so you're going to need to get a hub. And you'll want to use the Blackmagic speed test to see how badly the hub messes up your disk speed, so that you don't get one that's terrible. Uh, I still haven't found a good hub. I think this is a limitation of the Mac Mini because it's so low power. When you put a hub on it, it doesn't really react very well. Uh, I think it really needs a powered hub, an externally powered hub, which can take away from all the benefits you're getting from a low power system, because right away you're putting another device on it that is going to be eating power. So right now I have one disk, external disk, that's hooked up directly to the USB 4.0 port. They call it a Thunderbolt 3, but it's not really. It's a USB 4. USB 4 is also a USB 3.2 Gen 2. And I think it's also USB 3.1. So there are a number of ways to name that port, which is confusing, but it's a pain in the ass, but you have to live with it. Uh, so I have the OneDrive connected in there, and that's giving me pretty good speeds. It's getting me 800 megabytes a second. Uh, there is another disk that can be purchased. What is the name of it? It's something Cube. Uh, I can't think of it right now, but it will get 20, I think 2,800 bytes a second speed, but it's more expensive. This drive cost me $120. That drive is 200, and I just didn't think I needed it because I'm using this. I'm using it for archiving and for Time Machine. So I didn't think I needed faster speed than that, and so far I haven't needed it. It does not seem slow at all. Uh, so what else? I have my Logitech keyboard connected directly to USB 3. I think it's 3.0 port or 3.1 port, and it's a Type A USB. And I found that when I connected that to my hub, it didn't work as well. So I'm leaving that directly connected into the Mac Mini. And then I have the hub in the other Type A USB port, and that gives me, what does it give me? Three Type A, and it gives me one Type C. And I have my printer connected, and I have my Logitech webcam connected through the hub. It's not a powered hub. It's one of the cheap ones that's suggested by Amazon, and it seems to be working all right. I think I paid $10 for it. So I just don't want to put a powered hub on here that might damage my Mac Mini. I think there's a real danger that if you put something that's powered into one of these ports and it wasn't built correctly, it could cause a lot of trouble. So the only powered device, externally powered device that I have going in to my USB ports right now is my printer, which I've had for a number of years and works very well. So that's the story with the ports on this. I'm using the HDMI port, which is giving me 4K at 60 hertz with no problems. It looks very good. Uh, what else have I put in here? I installed VS Code and also Xcode, OBS, INA, and VLC for playing back media, LibreOffice, Bitdefender because you do want to check for viruses. Because if you're installing external software, you should check that, and iMovie. Now, a lot of these programs that I mentioned here are not in the App Store, or if they're in the App Store, they charge in the App Store, but you get them for free on the company's website. Uh, yeah, I don't really know what's up with the Mac App Store. I'm not particularly fond of it. Most of the stuff in there is for pay or has in-app advertisements, and I'm just not down with that. Uh, anyway, this is how I've been getting back some of the workflow that I'm used to, and you might consider doing some of these things on your own Mac if you decide to set it up that way. I'm much happier with it with the Mac now that I've been working with it for about a week. I've decided I'm going to keep it, and it will be my daily machine. And we'll see if what else we can improve on it. I'm sure that there are things that can be improved, and there are things that I still need to figure out. The mode that you're in when you do keyboard shortcuts is a bit confusing because if you click on one thing, you're in one mode. If you click on the desktop, for example, you're in a different mode, and so on. So that's something that you can tell from what's highlighted up here, what it says in the menu. But I have to get used to that, and I haven't gotten used to it yet. Anyway, I thank you for joining me, and I hope you learned something. Like and subscribe, please, and bye bye.